Broadcasting from Manhattan Beach and the World Wide Web, you're listening to CHSR, HealthyLife.net.
As a service to our listeners, this program is for general information and entertainment purposes only. CHSR, HealthyLife.net does not recommend, endorse, or object to the views, products, or topics expressed or discussed by show hosts or their guests. We suggest you always consult with your own personal, medical, financial, or legal advisor.
Welcome to the Calm Coach Radio, brought to you by Jacuzzi Saunas. Infrared saunas help with detoxification, stress and fatigue, weight loss, and so much more. You can learn more about Jacuzzi Sauna's innovative engineering at infraredsauna.com. I'm Dr. Lindsay Ghannam. Thanks for tuning into the show, where every episode I do my best to bring you natural solutions, remarkable remedies, tools and techniques to improve your mental health and gain relief from conditions like anxiety and depression. So if you've dealt with either of these conditions, anxiety and or depression, if someone you love is dealing with anxiety right now, please stay tuned. And today we have a very special guest, Mrs. Cherie Calbom. Cherie is America's most trusted nutritionist. She gives advice on how to juice, juicing for weight loss and better skin, juicing for cancer, and my favorite, juicing for detoxification. And I'm so excited because she's here today to share with us a bit more about her 60-day juice detox. Cherie, welcome to the show.
Hi, thank you so much for inviting me. This is one of my favorite topics, too, to talk about detoxification and how juicing fits into that plan.
Great. And Cherie, you just got back from the Health and Wellness Cruise, which it looks like sailed on the largest ship at sea, the Symphony. How much fun was that?
Oh, we had a great time. It was a huge ship. 6,800 people aboard, and
wow,
plus all the crew. It was like a floating city. But it was beautiful and wonderful and great weather, and we had so much fun juicing. And I think maybe one of my fun parts in making the juice, we had a lot of ginger that the chef had provided for us. I mean, like a bowl of it almost. And we had some fresh turmeric. No, not turmeric. I'm sorry. We just had the ginger and lemon. So I said, how about if we take a whole bunch of this ginger and do ginger shots for everybody who wants one?
Oh, wow.
So everybody was downing their ounce of ginger juice, and it was great. And then we had some grand finales at the end with all the produce that was left over, and just made some great juice concoctions out of everything that was left from my presentation. So we had a lot of fun.
That sounds like my kind of cruise.
Yeah.
So I'm really interested to get into it. I just have to ask, what started all of this for you? What inspired you to start juicing for yourself?
Well, I love to tell my story because it gives people hope. Years ago, in my 20s, I had terrible chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. It was so bad I couldn't work. I had to move home and sleep most of the time. So I'd sleep about 12 hours a day, wake up tired and ready to go back to bed within a few hours. I had no energy. I couldn't even go for walks in the neighborhood. I just didn't even think I'd make it around the block. And I started getting desperate when I went to a few doctors and got no hope that there was anything they could do about my condition. So I then went to health food stores and started talking with people there, and they did give me hope. Talked about diet, asked me what I ate. My diet was horrible. I didn't like vegetables. I was a sugaraholic. I loved fast food and junk food. So a true setup for illness. So I learned about juice fasting, went on a 5-day vegetable juice fast, and on the 5th day, my body expelled a tumor the size of a golf ball with blue blood vessels attached.
Oh,
that
my goodness. Wow.
Shocked me completely. I had no idea what had happened, but I wanted to know. And a couple of years after that, I went back to school to get my master's degree in whole foods nutrition. So I'm taking a little aside from my story here to talk about that because people always want to know what were those blue blood vessels. And in my program, I had to do all pre-med, and then I did my master's in whole foods nutrition. And I learned that what I saw was called angiogenesis. It was the creation of blood vessels that the body creates to go out to the tumor and feed it. So it keeps it alive and keeps it growing. There are phytonutrients in vegetables like celery is a powerful one with apigenin and luteolin and a variety of others, and many other vegetables have different phytonutrients that cut off the angiogenesis. Well, when I was looking at what my body expelled, it looked like somebody had cut about 5 of those blood vessels. Blue blood vessels. So I saw for myself what science was discovering, but I didn't know it at the time. So anyway, back to my story, I thought, well, after that I should be well tomorrow, but I wasn't. My body was detoxing, and that's what I'm so excited to talk to you today about. I was doing a detox. I didn't even know it. And I was so sick, so when I was detoxing, I had good days and bad days. I had ups and downs, days where I was really discouraged and thought, I'm getting worse, not better. But days where I felt, yes, I am getting better. But after 3 months on the program, one day I woke up and thought, somebody gave me a new body in the middle of the night. I felt like jogging. I felt alive. I looked in the mirror. I had color in my face, and my eyes were sparkling and alive, and I thought, what happened? But it wasn't that overnight my body just suddenly turned. It had been working on this for the whole time I'd been doing this. It had been in a healing process. And so we'll talk about that today as we go through our segment talking about detox, because it's known as a healing crisis sometimes, where the body gets a little worse before it gets better, and things that people are working on seem to swell up more or get a little more painful or a little more pronounced, whatever the symptoms are, and then people start getting better. So that's the exciting part of how the body works. It isn't like, take this pill, we're so locked into drugs. Take this pill and you're going to be better in so much time. This is different. Start drinking juices,
you had such
changing your diet, and you will get better.
Story, and to feel as bad as you did, and get that almost like confirmation, I guess, of what you were feeling in the form of the tumor. And I also appreciate that you touched on the nonlinear progression of healing. You called it the healing crisis. That's so interesting, but I think it's important for people to hear that, because they start on a healing path, but they may not feel better right away, and they wonder if they're doing something wrong or if they should go back to, a conventional diet. And I think you give people hope, if you just stick at it and you keep with the juice, you keep with the healthy diet, the exercise, that eventually those efforts will pay off. But if someone's holding on to toxins that are really dragging them down, and I think you described it as, feeling like you won't make it around the block, how can juicing really make a difference? Like how are detox and juicing really related to each other?
Juicing and detox, is that your question? You were asking me how they're related?
Yes.
Oh, so, integral, as I see it, because juicing is loaded, fresh vegetable juices, and I should stipulate organic, because you don't want to be putting more toxins in your body with pesticide residues. But anyway, all those antioxidants in the juices help to bind toxins and carry them out of the body. That's detox. And so it's more of a gentle process. I also work with a variety of herbal tinctures, people really want to get in and really cleanse the organs of elimination, the pathways of elimination, you can do some extras. So it's very, very effective. But juicing in itself is a gentle and good detox, and people start on that journey like right away. We do 5-day juice and raw food retreats, and we've had people do a lot of detox when they're at the retreats. Just little symptoms will pop up, but we have lots of juice and wheatgrass juice and a little dehydrated snack in the afternoon of our 3-day juice fast in the middle of the week, and people seem to make it through quite well. So it is definitely a wonderful part, an integral part, as I see it, of juicing. I mean, of detoxing, to bring in the juices. And some people say, well, how about just a water fast? But I never recommend that people start off with that, because most of us are way too toxic if we haven't done any detox before. And you just do a water fast, all those toxins just come pouring out like with a vengeance sometimes, it seems. And so people can actually do some damage. It's okay if you've done a lot of detox with juices and different herbs, and then you want to do a short water fast, but most people have not done a lot of that. So that's why I say juicing is an integral part, but it's so great because it's broken down. It's easily assimilated. It gets right into your system. Your body doesn't have to do a lot of work in processing it. Like people say, well, can I just eat vegetables? Yeah, and that's a good thing, and certainly you can, but it isn't broken down nearly as much as the juices are, and they are so easy to process. And here's another thing I just want to point out to everyone listening. When you do a detox with juices, and like you do maybe a short juice fast, it gives your whole system a rest. We spend a lot of our day when we eat 3 meals, 2 or 3 meals, digesting that food. So our organs that are involved in digestion are working hard almost all day long. That doesn't give a lot of time then for other aspects of cleansing, healing, rejuvenation, repair. But when you juice, the organs are not taxed to their limit. They don't have to do a whole lot of work. It's done for them. So now they can start working on cleanup, clearing out corners. It'd be like if you did a house cleaning on your week off, and you went after closets and drawer corners and garage and all of that, and you cleaned out areas that you let go for a while. The body does the same thing. It can start cleaning out things that it's let go. It hasn't had the opportunity to work on it, and that's where people see some pretty exciting results.
And I'm so glad that you touched on water fasting, because I have clients come to me, and I have people come to me all the time and say, you know, I want to lose weight, or, you know, I've heard that just not eating can really help me with a lot of issues, and doing this water fast. And it's just such a bad idea because, like you said, it can bring up so many issues within the body. It can make the blood toxic if you've got an overload of toxic burden and things like that. So, yeah, definitely want to be careful. I'm glad you brought that up. And you have a book. You have many different books. But you have one, The Juice Lady's Guide to Juicing for Health. And there are actually special chapters in your book that focus on anxiety and depression, which may be a good starting place, I think, for someone who's dealing with those types of symptoms and issues, to look into your book and those chapters. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's covered?
Yes. So in those chapters, as with all my chapters, my A to Z guide, 50 different ailments. So they're all this format. I look at the juices, the nutrients, the diet, and other lifestyle changes you can make to improve and heal those conditions. So what I did was to look at research on nutrients that help those conditions, studies that showed they were very helpful, and then I looked up the fruits or vegetables, mostly vegetables, that were highest in those nutrients, and then I created juice recipes out of those. And so it has a science basis to all of it, what I've got in there, except occasionally I'll put in a traditional remedy, one that's been kind of passed down and known to help something. So I've got a few of those. I usually tell people when it's a traditional remedy. And they really do work. I have seen people with anxiety and depression turn those situations around, and sometimes very, very quickly. Some people are absolutely shocked. I've had some people get on my programs that had been dealing with stuff for years, and all of a sudden they got rid of all the sugar, the dyes in their diet. Sugar and dyes can really contribute to those conditions of anxiety and depression, and also junk food, fast food. Got off of all that stuff, got onto the juicing, changed their diet, got a lot of whole foods into their diet, and I've had people say, wow, within a week it was gone, just gone,
wow.
And I ended up with a happy mood. And I love to tell people to juice fennel. Now, this is a traditional remedy, but fennel is known to increase endorphins. The runner's high, they call it, that feeling of well-being or happiness, joy, it just seems to increase that. But it can't be that you just keep with your old bad diet and sugar and all of that bad stuff and add in some fennel juice. You've got to change your diet and then also add in some fennel into your recipes, and that can give people a little extra boost.
Now, you touched on a little bit earlier celery juice, and it's all the rage right now. It's changing so many people's lives, and you've witnessed its benefits firsthand in your practice. Can you share with us what it is about celery that makes it so special?
Celery is the rage worldwide, and it's just exploded. It's exploded for a reason. It works. So the recommendation is to drink 16 ounces of plain, straight celery juice on an empty stomach first thing in the morning, and then wait about 30 minutes before you have your other juices or your green smoothie or whatever you're going to have. It is amazing what it does. There are a lot of studies on celery. It isn't just somebody's good idea and then a bunch of people started doing it, although that did happen. But there are many studies looking at celery, such as the studies I mentioned earlier of the phytonutrients that cut off angiogenesis, so cut off that blood supply to tumors, proven. And celery is one of the highest in the two I mentioned, apigenin and luteolin, but also lowering blood pressure and helping with digestive issues and helping with energy. Lots of people report a renewed energy and sense of well-being and just all sorts of healing for the body. Long lists of all sorts of things that have been healed in people's bodies. And, things like diabetes improving. Of course, you've got to change your diet for that to happen, too. You can't just add celery. But all sorts of healings reported worldwide by adding in the fresh, organic 16 ounces of celery juice first thing in the morning. I've been doing it, and I've noticed a difference. I've been feeling better.
It's fantastic. And when I realized that it works is when I stopped doing it. And then the issues kind of come back slowly over time, over the course of a few days, and I think to myself, I better get my juicer out and start doing the celery again.
Yes, absolutely. Here's one thing I noticed, and a lot of people can relate to wanting to improve their sleep. Since I have been doing celery, I am like sleeping deeply, really deeply, and just kind of a more peaceful sleep. It seems I don't wake up as much, or if I do wake up and have to run to the restroom, it's like I barely remember that I went there. So it really is helping with sleep, and it has a calming effect, too. So anyone that's feeling like jittery or you're an uptight person, try celery juice. It's just known to be very, very calming.
Cherie, I want to thank you so much for being here today. There's so much good information for anyone who's even slightly interested in juicing. I mean, if I hadn't already been juicing, you would have pushed me over the edge today to start trying it. It's just incredible, all of the information that you have. So if someone wants to get in touch with you or check out one of your cleanses, what would you like them to do?
So come visit me, my website, juiceladyinfo.com. So don't forget the info after Juice Lady. And I have the 30-day detox and always classes starting. People can jump in whenever they want to, and it takes you through 4 weeks of colon cleanse, week 1, liver, gallbladder, and parasite cleanse, week 2. Week 3 is kidney, bladder, and lung, and week 4 is lymphatic system and skin and blood. And I have the tinctures for each of those pathways of elimination that I mentioned, and they really do work. And you can sign up for my free newsletter, and then you get a coupon, so you get a discount on everything. So do come visit me and check out my books and my programs and my 5-day juice fast, and take a look at our 2 retreats this year, one in August and one in October, where we do juicing and raw foods and have a great time for 5 days together getting healthy.
That sounds great. Thank you so much again, Cherie, for being on the show. And we are going to take a really short break, and when we get back, we'll continue the conversation around juicing for detox. And we're back, and today we are talking about juicing for detox. And, you know, who got me started on juicing years and years ago was Joe Cross. I watched his documentary, Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. That's what it's called. And literally that week, I went out and bought a juicer. The documentary was on Netflix back then, and I think Joe has it up on his website now. You can actually watch the first one for free. There's a sequel out now too that's really, really good. So Joe was basically this ordinary guy who decided that he was really unhappy with his life and also very unhealthy. He started out around 100 pounds overweight, and he was on so many different prescription medications, including steroids, and he decided to see what would happen if he just relied 100% on his body to heal itself. And he didn't go right off of his medication, by the way. You know, he was consulting with his doctors pretty regularly, even if by phone, just to make sure, you know, that he was on the right course. But again, you know, just wanted to use fruit and vegetable juice for, I think it was a total of something like 60 days that he went on this juice cleanse. And that's what he did. And his camera crew followed him around. They traveled something like 3,000 miles across the country. And he basically kind of stops off and interviews people. And he does that to get their opinion on juicing. And it's kind of funny because you see all of these people who probably have never been introduced to juicing before. And a lot of them, honestly, they're just completely grossed out by it. But anyway, big picture, he gets better. You watch him basically shed all of this weight. He just gets, you know, thinner and healthier looking. He had some kind of skin condition too, if I remember correctly. So you watch his skin clear up on camera. And by the end of this movie, he comes across as this completely different person, this completely different guy. And I really, really fell in love with that movie. You know, and his mission and his vision of what he wanted his health to be. And I think it provided a lot of inspiration for people to start juicing back then. So if you're kind of on the fence and you're thinking about juicing and you're not quite sure, definitely check out that movie. At least watch the first one. Again, it's free on his website. But you see a lot of celebrities juicing now. It's picked up a lot of momentum over the last 10 years or so. And it can bring a lot of vitality to your life if you do it the right way. And if you're going to detox, you know, you're basically working to get 2 main categories of substances out of your body when you're detoxing. You're trying to get, first of all, toxins that are created within your body, and toxins that kind of enter your body from the outside. And we don't talk about this a whole lot. You hear more about environmental toxins, but the reality is that we're creating so much waste inside of our bodies too. So, for example, you have bugs and you have viruses and other critters in your body that they're creating their own waste. Like Anthony William, the medical medium, talks about is the byproduct or the waste produced by the Epstein-Barr virus, which we know from science and research is highly prevalent within our population. Over 90% of people have it. And this waste basically winds up in the liver and the intestinal tract, which can lead to things like constipation or fatigue or anxiety, stomach troubles, all kinds of different things. And sometimes that gets misdiagnosed as parasites. So we have these internal bugs, we have these external toxins, that come into the body. We have toxins produced by the body. And if your goal is to detoxify your body, maybe you're feeling really tired, maybe you're feeling anxious, you have symptoms of depression, and maybe you're looking to feel better. You're honestly going to do that in some way or another by juicing any fruit or any vegetable. If you bring it in and you do it for a few days or a few weeks, any fruit or vegetable, as long as it's organic, is going to have detoxifying properties. If you're juicing inorganic produce, you have to be really, really careful. You don't know if it's a GMO. You don't know how much pesticides on it. Just be really, really careful with that. I think the worst veggies are celery, spinach, and kale. They tend to be subjected to the most pesticides. So try to buy organic whenever you can. If you can't, make sure you get a really good, clear organic dish soap that you can wash your fruits and vegetables. Make sure they don't have any residue or anything on them. And I wouldn't recommend juicing alone. In other words, you want to be sure that you're eating food. A juice fast is not the best idea, especially if you're dealing with anxiety or depression, because you want to sustain your adrenal health, and you do that by eating every 2 to 3 hours. So most people who are dealing with anxiety, especially chronic anxiety, have burned out their adrenals or their adrenal glands. Which are basically, they sit right on top of your kidneys. And these glands produce cortisol, which is a stress-related hormone. And that's good, but when cortisol levels stay high for a long time, as is the case with, like chronic anxiety sufferers, this can result in adrenal fatigue, which is a term kind of loosely used to describe the symptoms that come up when the brain and the adrenal glands aren't communicating properly. So fasting or juicing can create stress for the body rather than relieve it, especially the liver. You kind of think about it like you're giving your body a break, but the opposite is actually true for so many people. You're actually overburdening your liver and giving it too much work to do in too short of a time frame. And your liver can get bombarded with filtering all of these toxins. So, when I first started juicing, I went a little bit nuts. I started buying all different types of things, that I'd never eaten before. I was just so excited. I started throwing all different types of roots and veggies into the juicer. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that, by the way. I was juicing ginger. There's a lot of different things you can juice, and we'll get into that a little bit later, some more specific recipes and things like that. But if you're looking to detox, and you need to really focus on living a detox lifestyle, that means you're detoxing every single day. And one thing I do in my home is I use an infrared sauna. I do it at least once a week. I get in there, I sweat out a lot of the toxins. I do it after I juice. It's a great combination, a step that you can take every week, once or twice a week, to be sure that you're detoxing. And, it's so easy to just start doing that right away. So you can visit infraredsauna.com and learn about jacuzzi saunas. They're offering $100 off your purchase of a new infrared sauna this month if you are listening to the show. So again, visit their website, infraredsauna.com. You can learn more about all of their amazing saunas. They are safe. They're easy to install. They're doctor recommended. definitely go to infraredsauna.com to learn more. Looks like we're going to take a really, really short break, and when we get back, we're going to talk a little bit more about some other tools that you can use to detox. Welcome back, and thanks for tuning in. So today we're talking about detox, and I just wanted to bring up a point that I touched on earlier, just because it comes up a lot when we're talking about juicing, and people really want to juice to lose weight. And a lot of people come to me and they say, you know, I want to lose a couple pounds, or maybe I want to lose 10 pounds, and I totally get it. It sounds really enticing, and, you know, why not juice to lose weight or fast, like we talked about earlier? Well, again, you know, there are a few different reasons that this can be a very bad idea. You know, I understand too, people fast for religious reasons. I know monks fast to obtain spiritual enlightenment. It's an opportunity for spiritual growth. And I mean no disrespect to those who fast for these reasons. But the typical, your typical body, especially in our culture nowadays, just can't handle a fast like that. It isn't as detoxifying as it sounds. Or I guess I should probably say it's too detoxifying and too fast. And I worry about those who are dealing with anxiety or depression. And I know many, you try fasting just to cleanse out the body, but so many times they end up feeling worse, and anxiety gets worse, and they can't understand, you know, quite why they're feeling the way that they're feeling. So when we begin to fast, a few different things happen that may negatively impact the body. So first, like we talked about earlier, when you're fasting, your liver might get bombarded with toxins that are trying to actually leave your system, but because there's so many of them and the liver, you know, is a little bit tied up, it ends up in your bloodstream. A lot of the toxins end up in your bloodstream, and those toxins can cause additional problems for your other organs, like your heart, or if your liver is super, super toxic, like so many people, or if it's sluggish, like so many people, it's just not a good time to do a fast, like a juice fast. You may wind up in bed with the covers pulled over your head for a few days. I think that happened to Joe Cross, the gentleman we were talking about earlier in the documentary. You know, you just feel so rotten because your body's trying to detox and it's happening too quickly. So listen to your body, start slow, bring in juice for a meal a day or drink it in between meals. Green juice is incredibly nourishing and can help with anxiety and depression by hydrating the body and, you know, providing these essential nutrients that are often depleted in so many people. You've got things like fennel, celery, cucumber. Those are all great to start with. I love fennel juice. I love cutting the bulbs of the fennel. I love the aroma of it when it's juiced. The flavor, it's so hard to describe. It's almost like a sweet licorice. It's different than any other juice. I love it. And, you know, I know a lot of people who really enjoy it by itself, plain with nothing else added. You know, there's so many studies on juicing, even studies supporting the idea that fruit and vegetable juice balance blood pressure. You know, there's not enough studies, though, I have to say. There's not really quite enough research out there to really, really show the incredible benefits of juicing. Juicing also helps you in being able to absorb all the nutrients that are in fruits and vegetables. This really matters because, you know, many of us have weak digestive systems and we're not absorbing all of the nutrients in our food. And this can definitely lead to mental health issues because we then become deficient in all of these essential minerals. And juicing helps by, you know, it eliminates that extra step of having to digest the food for the body and for the digestive system. And you'll get most of that nutrition right away. This is important because, you know, because so many of us have this impaired digestion from eating all of these less than ideal foods over the course of our life. So we need to eliminate that extra step sometimes and give our liver and our other organs a bit of a break so that we can absorb a lot more nutrients from our juice. You know, what else I've found I eat or juice a wide variety of vegetables, things I would maybe not eat whole. I kind of walk around the market and I explore and I look for these exotic varieties that I'd normally be a little bit intimidated by, but since I'm juicing it, I find it less intimidating because I don't have to cook it or figure out how to eat it. I'm trying to think of an example. Like, say, for example, beets. A beet is not an exotic food, but I don't really know what to do with a beet. And I love juicing a beet. Maybe it's because of all of the bioavailable iron, but I don't necessarily know how to incorporate a beet into my cooking at home or get my kids to eat beets, for example. So, and maybe somebody out there can email me and give me a really good beet recipe. That would be funny. But I know, if you just buy a beet, you can cut it up, set it in your juicer. You can juice the whole beet. You can juice the leaves on the beet. I think it's really delicious, and it's so easy. I just chop them up, throw them in there. I do the same with grapefruits or other exotic fruits that I wouldn't know what to do with otherwise. But with juicing, you can juice a wide variety of vegetables that you may not normally enjoy eating whole. And if you juice or experiment with more bitter veggies, you can try adding things like lemon or lime to curb the flavor. And I know a lot of people say, I'm worried about juicing because it's like drinking sugar. But that's totally false. Fruit sugar is not the same as table sugar. Fruit sugar is a mix of sucrose, fructose, and glucose. You would have to eat like an entire truck full of fruit to be harmed by the fructose. And this would be totally impossible anyway, since the sugar from fruit leaves your stomach in around 7 minutes. So don't fall into that trap. Don't believe that fruit is bad for you, or that fruit juice is bad for you, and deprive yourself of those critical nutrients. Fruit juice contains most of the vitamins, most of the minerals, most of the phytonutrients that are found in the whole fruit, just minus the fiber. And it's really best to juice, when you first wake up on an empty stomach. That's when you get the most benefit from juicing. So a lot of people ask me, do I need a really expensive juicer? Can I get, something at Target? Can I get a less expensive $50, $60 juicer? And honestly, I've used both, and I've found that both a standard juicer and, more expensive, say, masticating juicers that are on the market, I think they work quite the same, to be really honest with you. So I just have to put that out there. Save your money, spend it on supplements, spend it on food. Don't worry about getting a super, super high-end juicer. I just don't think that that's totally necessary. So it looks like we're going to take a little bit of a break, and we'll get back to talking about juicing, and we'll get a little bit more into, the difference between smoothies and juices when we get back. So before we went to break, we were talking just for a minute about juicers, high-end juicers versus a juicer you could buy at, say, Target or Walmart or Amazon, that isn't quite as expensive. People ask me this all the time, do I have to get a really expensive juicer? And the answer, in my opinion, is no, you don't. Save your money, spend it on supplements, spend it on food. You don't necessarily have to go out and buy a high-end juicer. But I get the question a lot too: can I make a smoothie? Is a smoothie the same? And a smoothie is not quite the same as juice. A lot of people ask me, can I just throw stuff in a magic bullet or a blender? And it's just, you're getting the food. It's still pre-digested when you're drinking a smoothie, so you're making it a little bit easier on your body. But really, the juice is so critical. The juice from fruits and vegetables goes right into the body. It allows for nutrients to cross the blood-brain barrier, which is really, really important. Not all of the nutrients, but some of the nutrients. Juicing on an empty stomach first thing in the morning provides a little bit of a boost Just remember that smoothies or blended fruits and vegetables are different than drinking fruit and vegetable juice, and that they're both going to do different things. So try each, practice a little bit, notice any improvement in your mood or other symptoms after you do both, and if it's working, keep doing it. So, again, thanks so much for listening today. Our show today is brought to you by Jacuzzi Saunas, the best and safest line of saunas for detoxification. Be sure to check them out at infraredsauna.com if you want to learn more about detoxification. We're talking about juicing today, which is a critical step in detoxing the body. If you want to add another layer in there, another step in there, do something else to boost your immune system, go to infraredsauna.com to learn more about their saunas. And the best way that you can consistently rid your body of all of this stuff, like we talked about earlier, external and internal toxins, is to detox every single day and do what they call live a detox lifestyle. Juicing is such a simple and amazing detoxifier. Again, be sure to eat along with juicing for the most part so you don't overwhelm your system. And there are special herbs that you can add to your juice to give them a power boost. Parsley is great for fighting free radical damage and giving you a boost of energy. You have other herbs like holy basil, or what's often called tulsi. That's another great herb for juicing. Or if you can't find any and you really want to start juicing basil, just buy the basil at your local supermarket. It detoxes the blood and it relaxes the mind and the body. It's an amazing, amazing herb. Mint is so fun to juice. It's a great tasting herb. You can add it to almost any juice, especially fruit juice. It's also really good to throw in your juice around flu season, or maybe if you're having like an upset stomach or any type of stomach discomfort, mint is really, really good. If you ingest mint on a regular basis, that has actually been scientifically shown to clear congestion in your respiratory system, also to relieve inflammation and irritation as well. It can counteract the effects of juices that maybe leave your breath a little less than favorable, like if you're juicing garlic or spinach, things like that. So many people add ginger root to their juices. I do it every single day. I add ginger root and a bit of turmeric to my morning lemon water. Ginger root is rich in chromium, zinc, and magnesium, which help your body maintain blood circulation, which is essential for detoxification. It's also another good herb to bring in around flu season. Make sure that you ward off those bugs. And, I don't juice turmeric, but I do add it to, I have like a turmeric powder. I don't often buy the root that you would see like at the supermarket. I just sprinkle a bit of the powder in there, but some people don't like that flavor of turmeric. Some people really, really prefer to juice it, to actually throw like a 4-inch, root into their juicer, and that gives you a pretty good portion there. So you could definitely bring in turmeric root and start juicing it. There's research to show that turmeric helps with anxiety and depression. If you feel like you're dealing with heavy metal toxicity and you're already throwing cilantro in your smoothies every day, throw it in your juice too. Get a little bit extra in there if you can. You can also look into dandelion and nettle. Those are great detox herbs to throw into your juice. Sometimes you can make the tea first and then add it to your juice. There's so many different things that you can do to bring herbs into your juicing practice. And again, another great way to detox is through infrared sauna therapy. It's something I do every single week. I'm in my sauna at least once or twice every single week, and you don't have to go for long, 10, 20 minutes, whatever you think is right for you, or if you talk to your doctor and get like a specific regimen going. But special thanks to our show sponsor this month, Jacuzzi Saunas. Be sure to visit them at infraredsauna.com to learn more about their saunas and how you can have an amazing sauna in your own home to use whenever you need to detox or just relax. And I can't tell you how having a sauna in my home has really changed my life. I use my sauna right after I juice just to kick up the benefit. But thanks so much for joining me today. I love sharing juicing tips, and I especially love it when, those who have never juiced give it a try for the first time and they just fall in love with it. Then they start doing it every single day. It's totally addictive. It really is. Today we talked about specific recipes for juicing. Celery juice straight is especially healing first thing in the morning on an empty stomach. But don't get caught up in all of that. Follow your intuition. Your intuition will guide you to the fruits and vegetables that you need. Start experimenting. Just find the flavors that you enjoy. But overall, remember that you deserve to be well. Your body and your mind want you to be well, and they work tirelessly 24 hours a day to make sure, that you're healthy as you can be, and to rid your body of those toxins. There are so many things you can do starting today to improve your mental health and well-being. It all starts with deciding to live a detox lifestyle and learning about all the ways you can bring wellness into your life every single day. So get some of those natural juices in you. If you are just getting started, drink what you like. Maybe bring in things that you don't quite like later, just to get that additional, those additional nutrients and vitamins in. Get in the habit. Make some for your family or your kids. Everyone will love juicing together. I think the most important thing overall is to just get started and have that detox lifestyle mind frame going forward. So I will talk to you all next time. Take care, everyone, and thank you for tuning in. Oh.